Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Smash JT. You know, I've been thinking a lot about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate lately, and with the Nintendo Direct and all these characters and soundtracks and stages that you'll be able to play on and everything you'll be able to do in this game, how it's going to be truly the ultimate experience of Super Smash Bros. It got me wondering, what's next for Super Smash Bros? Are they going to have a sequel 5-10 years down the road from now for Super Smash Bros. Infinite and have even more stuff in it? It got me wondering about, are sequels even necessary? And that's what we're going to talk about today. JT. Are certain sequels even necessary anymore? Now, I say certain sequels because obviously you'll have your action-adventure and RPG games where, yeah, you're going to need completely different levels and worlds to be built and new characters and everything to interact with them. But as far as certain games, and I'm talking about specifically sports and fighting games, those are the two that come to mind immediately, where are sequels really necessary for these anymore? I think back to the Super Nintendo with Street Fighter 2, and then we had Super Street Fighter 2 and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition, and there were how many Super Street Fighter 2 editions that came out for the Super Nintendo and then got remade after that down the road. And it got me wondering, if Street Fighter 2 came out now and they wanted to plan all these different things after it, would they have made all these different sequels for it, or would they have just made an update and downloadable content for it? I really think it would have been a microtransaction filled game, and not that that's a bad thing, because it would have still been what Street Fighter 2 was, but you wouldn't have had to go out and buy a brand new game every time they wanted to add a couple characters or turn the speed up or change a few different things, but leave all the graphics and everything else basically the same. And you could look at Mortal Kombat to Mortal Kombat 2 to Mortal Kombat 3, where there were slight graphical enhancements between those, but then you had Mortal Kombat 4 where it went to a 3D environment that completely changed the entire game and revolutionized what Mortal Kombat was at that point. And then since then they've gone back to the traditional 2D fighting. As far as that's concerned, yeah, if you're completely changing the game engine and what the game is about, where it goes from a 2D to a 3D fighting game, then yeah, you're probably going to need a new game at that point. But ultimately, how many times are we going to buy a game that comes out every year or every 2 years or 3 years when the next Soul Calibur or Tekken comes out? Or hell, even racing games and, like I said, sports games, where at this point, yeah, the graphical improvements are there, but they're marginal at best, unless you're talking about actual system and console upgrades like the Xbox One to the Xbox One X. The actual games themselves, the graphics on those games, haven't really changed too much, and I don't foresee it changing drastically enough to create an entirely new game experience at that point once new systems come out in 2020 or whenever they actually do show up. Are we going to need sequels at this point? Or are we going to just need one game and then get updates at that point for that specific game? Look at the sports games like Madden and FIFA and MLB and NHL, all the major ones, everything like that. They're basically just roster updates at this point. Now you look at EA and how they have EA Access, and the people pay a monthly fee to have access to these games and things like that, but maybe they switch it around and just have a monthly fee to have access to these games and have a roster update every year. Do they really need an entirely new game to sell to people? Maybe for marketing purposes? But that's really the only reason that I could see a logical argument for why we need sequels to these games. But to be honest, I've really just been caught up with this whole thing because of Smash Bros. Ultimate, and everything that's going to be included on that game is everything we ever wanted out of a video game that is Super Smash Bros. And if you take that argument to other games that are similar, like other fighting games or sports games or things that really just have character updates, are we going to need sequels going forward? What are we going to have to do in a video game to justify an entirely new game, a sequel to what previously existed, as opposed to just adding new characters to it? And again, maybe this is marketing and that's why they make sequels right now, but people are going to catch up to this. You would think that would have happened already, but it is trending in that direction. So I wonder how much longer the video game industry is going to be able to sustain having sequel after sequel. We're seeing the games being titled, not numbers, but Ultimate, and then Infinite. The next Halo game is going to be called Halo Infinite. Does that mean there's not going to be another official Halo sequel after Halo Infinite? They're just going to add to the storyline and continue adding to that storyline and just make it an incredibly long game at that point? Technology has created a way to add pages to the end of books that used to be shut, but since downloadable content exists now, companies are using that to their advantage, and they're saving money by not making new games, wholly recreating an entirely new experience for no reason at the end of the day, when they can just add new characters to it. But I'd be very interested to your take on this. What do you guys think about, are sequels necessary? Now, obviously, like I said, yes, you're always going to be having sequels in certain niche areas of video gaming. But as far as talking about fighting games and sports games, are sequels even necessary anymore? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.